I want to give credit to Coach Schertz and St. Louis came in here and punched us in the mouth. And they just played harder than us, out-coached us. They were more prepared than we were. And they looked in better shape than we did. And hats off to Jimerson, right? Kid's battled through so many things over the course of his 5-6 year career, whatever it is. Came in here. He's been having a fantastic year. We had a defense that was specifically designed to prevent threes, and it didn't work because he came out, got hot real quick, and once he gets going, like any shooter, they feel it go in the rim or in the basket. They get going, and that's what he certainly did. And obviously, their big boy who plays the 4 for the Mavila is a matchup nightmare, and we didn't do a good job. And what happens is we have to score to get into some of the defenses we had prepared, and unfortunately, we had a tough night from the field. And that's something we've been talking about as a unit over the course of the last several weeks. We've been playing with danger. We've been scoring at a very high clip, but giving up a lot of points. And our identity is defending and rebounding. At least that's what we say it is, and it hasn't been for several weeks now. And we know that. We've talked a lot about it. And when you don't make shots like we didn't tonight, you've got to be able to get stops. And we couldn't get stops. We couldn't get out and run. And that was the plan, to get out and run, so they wore down, only playing 6 or 7 guys, but they continued to score. We couldn't get stops, get out and run, and then we were struggling to score. So hats off to them. They came in, punched us in the mouth. We got to, get back to it, get better, and that's what we'll do. These guys are great in the locker room. They got great attitudes. They've been working their butts off. That's all we can ask them to do. Tonight was a tough night. We got to bounce back.
Sure. Coach, can you talk about just any adjustments that you made, like trying to guard Gibson Jimerson? Obviously, you had a big first half.
Yeah.
What changed, defensively for you guys to try and limit him?
Nothing changed, honestly. We did our best to. We scored a little bit more in the second half, so that obviously gave us an opportunity to set up some more of our defenses. But they shot 60% from the field. I don't really care if you're playing nobody. The bottom line is, if kids are just not going to miss, they got hot and they were making all sorts of shots. And, kids who don't normally score were making tough shots. It's just they had a great night, shooting the basketball, and that happens. And the problem was we had some wide open shots that we've been making here in the last several weeks. And unfortunately, we didn't do that today. And that's we let it get away from us. But he's a great player. You can only try to contain him, because he's got such a ridiculous release. He doesn't drop it. It's a professional release. It's quick, so he doesn't need a whole lot of room. We fouled him twice on 2 threes. So, he was 5 for 7 from 3, and the 2 ones, he's really 7 for 9. That's big time. So, and we made him work for absolutely everything. He didn't hit one naked shot except for the one first half corner in transition, and then when we doubled, it was still contested late in the second half in front of their bench. So, but for the most part, he made some tough shots, man. And he doesn't really make a ton of shots at the rim. He back cuts a lot, but he still finished a couple really tough layups too. So he got going and he didn't stop.
Coach, a lot of backdoor cuts today for St. Louis today. Just from your perspective as a coach to your players, what do you work on at practice to kind of prevent those fundamental things?
Yeah, pressure the ball. So we got worn down. We were in transition defense a lot. So, as a result, we didn't get our matchups that we typically want. And we didn't pressure the ball like we had planned or worked on the last couple of days. And we weren't in our gaps. And as soon as you start to get tired, you don't communicate, you start to get nailed with backdoor cuts. And they stretched us out a little bit. They knew we had to get aggressive. We were down, so then we had to pressure the ball, try to get some blitzes on the perimeter. And they made us pay for that. They got some good guards. They made some right decisions. And when we did get them to turn it over, we didn't convert on the other end. So, we turned them over 12 times, and, we had 14 points off of 12 turnovers. You got to have 20-plus points off of 12 turnovers, and that's what we've been doing here in the past. And if that takes place, like the one run we went on the first half, we were converting off of a couple of turnovers, and we got one, and he had to call a timeout, right? And that was the only run we really went on. We just started trading baskets when we finally did score.
Coach, you've talked about how, at times this year the offense has kept you in games and the defense hasn't quite been there. But in this game, you guys weren't shooting the ball well from the field at all throughout most of that game.
Yeah.
You chalk that up to?
I'm not quite sure, honestly. Just one of those games. Sometimes it's a long year, several months. We've been scoring 80 points, 5-6. Now, they were being physical. You got to give them credit because they did a great job on the ball, pressuring the ball. But we did get some open looks, and we got to knock those down. They made us work for almost everything we had. They blitzed us in the post. We prepared for that, and we just couldn't finish and took some tough shots. But we had some open looks, and they just didn't fall. That's just one of those days. It is what it is.
And Coach, Jaden wasn't dressed today. Any update on how he's feeling today?
Yeah, he tweaked his knee in practice the other day. We're just waiting for the results and the doctors, and he's been playing his butt off, and it happened late in the practice where he was actually playing fantastic, but it's part of the game.
Coach, I know you don't ever want to lose like that, but is there ever a silver lining in a loss where maybe your message comes through louder after they've kind of gotten smacked in the face by somebody?
Absolutely. They I'll be real, we've had tremendous practices, tremendous. The first bad practice we've had maybe over a month was yesterday. And, that's kind of how we started. They know that. They understand that. They talked about it after practice yesterday, which I like about this group. They're not afraid to hold each other accountable. They're mature like that. But unfortunately, it kind of reared its ugly head, and we didn't get out to the start that we had wanted. And we've been talking about defending and rebounding, and now they kind of understand, look, we're in league play. You're going to have to battle every single possession because every single night you're playing against teams and coaches and players that are elite. So this will help for sure bring back a little humility and, understand that we got to get back to work.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
Happy New Year, fellas.
Happy New Year.